All right, next game we're going to talk about here, Cowboys Jags. Hard not to watch that game and just have good feelings about the Jags. And there's so many aspects of the way they played today, some of the guys that showed up, what their plan was. You watch it, it's like, it's just hard not to smile. What was your prevailing thought about the Jaguars today as they somehow managed to pull this thing off?
Oh, man. I would say the good vibes. It was one of Zay Jones's touchdowns, I believe. And it was Zay Jones, Marvin Jones for hugging Jackson DeVille, the mascot, the Jaguars mascot. And they literally had a group hug. All three of them in the end zone. Like they were like it was the most casual, like they were so comfortable with it. Like, yeah, this is nice. But that was right then and there. I was like, yeah, this team, the fact that Trevor Lawrence can fumble that ball that in the fourth quarter with what, a minute and a half left, give or take.
I think there was less time than that left.
It wasn't that
so
much.
He fumbles, trying to find it. He fumbles at 126.
Okay.
They got the ball back at the 13 seconds ticked off the clock. But when Dak's incompletion on third down, which we can talk about throwing the ball in that situation.
We should.
That incompletion on third down, it falls incomplete with 1:13 left. So 13 seconds ticked off the clock on that Cowboys entire drive.
We're talking Jags, but sidebar, it's every time I start feeling good about the Cowboys, I always remember Mike McCarthy is the head coach every time. But with this Jags team, it's, well, of course, Trevor Lawrence is playing great, and Travis Etienne is very explosive in the run game, and how they get to their run games can be really fun sometimes. Like
they were fantastic today.
Yeah, how they know how to game it up. Like the smoke and mirrors of their run game is really nice with all the motions, all the split zone kind of stuff. What they sprinkle in, they run just about everything, every type of run. Don't run duo that much, which I understand, but that's always, I'm going to be a sucker for that. But I love today is we've talked about this with this Cowboys defense is that they're so aggressive, so ears pinned back that sometimes they won't be gap sound. And what I noticed today, run game and pass game, a lot of stuff side to side, a lot of smoke and mirrors, a lot of, I think at least 2 reverses. There was or end arounds, if you want to be,
I think actually it was like 3 or 4.
It might have been 3. And they also had a fake end around screen. And then they also, which is one of my favorite plays in the playbook. And then they had nakeds, which they always do, tons of screens, motion to screens. They were just getting them side to side. And Doug Peterson is, what I've noticed is, for better, for worse, I think he identifies the matchup he wants and he just pokes at it the entire game. And I could tell that matchup today was the Christian Kirk. They ran like a wheel to him. They did it twice. And
Anthony Barr was on him the first time, which I did not understand. They were an empty on 1st and 10. So I didn't see the rest of the personnel, whether it was a little bit heavier and the Cowboys matched a certain way, but Barr was on him on that first wheel out of the slot and is a huge completion as a result of it.
Yeah. And that's what he just knows how to pick at it. It can be funky sometimes. And sometimes I'm like, oh, you don't have to do that. You know, he has some Andy Reid to him, but man, he just knows how to game this stuff up. Like the Zay Jones TDs. The first one came out mesh. No one gets more hay out of mesh than the Jags. And it's want to see the difference between teams running mesh that are good at it and not. The Cowboys ran it 3 times today and only were successful on one of them, including one of them was the interception to end the game. The double move to Zay Jones, that was awesome. It was, again, IDing a matchup advantage. I can't believe Zay Jones is a matchup advantage, but he is.
Well, they picked on Calvin Joseph multiple times in this game on double moves, or not even like a double move. The Marvin Jones touchdown, he kind of fakes an over and then takes it back outside, just getting him going one direction and making him go the other against Calvin Joseph multiple times in this game.
It felt like it was a Norv Turner 1997 offense. That was a burst release. It was drive with a burst release, which is, like you said, you're selling your inside and then he breaks back out. But that is a burst 7. Some places 7 is a corner route in the route tree. A burst 7 is it's okay. This will sum it up. It's a match. It's like when I say with 989, we have better dudes than you type of play when you go to it, because that's a one-on-one essentially. It was drive, which is a crosser and a dig from the front side. But we have a story. So my senior year, when I was backing up Russell, by backing up, I just signal plays in and try to stay warm. And I think Russell went like 14 of 15 on the day or 15 of 16 on the day. And the only incompletion was the last throw of the day. Like we just shredded them the entire game. We're playing Minnesota. And we ran this play, drive X7, which is what that touchdown came on. And Nick Toon was torching this corner for Minnesota just over and over. I think he had a touchdown, maybe 2 on the day. And Coach Chris stopped calling it because he goes, "That's too easy. That's boring." He literally said, he goes, "We could call this every play because that guy's so bad." Because it's just you're just turning them every which direction. But anyways,
And
but
when
I
it's
just
Marvin Jones having that matchup advantage, that's how you know the spot the Cowboys are in with Kelvin Joseph right now.
yes, the non-Trayvon Diggs. And we also the double move was a pull-up bootleg play we used to run with Russ and Jared Aberdeus. So I had some great flashbacks today. But even the interception, it wasn't inexplicable. It was 4 verts. Christian Kirk is supposed to cross the defender's face, and he doesn't. He keeps it straight because he read it as too high, and that was a late rotation from the Cowboys. So he got caught on that, and those suck. That happens. Dak has had like 3 of them this year. Those throws are hard because you have to anticipate and trust your receiver sees the same thing. That's why I always say seam benders. There's a difference between seam and seam bender. He was supposed to bend it, and he didn't bend. So that was that. But I don't know. Great game planning. I thought Trevor was out of his mind again. And I don't know, their defense isn't great, but they did at least some interesting things today. And I thought they adapted their game plan today on defense, which I really liked.
Starting with the offense. So it was 2 things to me. It was picking on Kelvin Joseph with some of those double moves. The one on the outside, the 50-something yard touchdown. The idea of that play where we're going to run a double move against this guy who we think we can pick on, combined with, we talked about this earlier in the week, Trevor making those plays out of structure outside the pocket. That's where this thing can just get taken to any level we want it to. Like the ceiling doesn't exist if he's going to be able to make throws like that because the mechanical kind of in the pocket quarterback stuff is so good. The splash plays, that's what I was waiting for a little bit. That's the splashiest play you can make. He threw 50 yards on the run on a double move.
I know, on the run.
It was insane. So if he's going to do that, then we're having a different conversation, which we can talk about. And so you combine the way they picked on Kelvin Joseph with exactly what you're talking about with the side to side misdirection stuff. The touchdown drive they went on the second quarter, they made it 14-7. These are some of the plays they ran on that drive. There's an end around flip to Jamal Agnew, a fake toss slide play action to Evan Ingram coming back. So they fake the toss, boot, slide coming back across with Evan Ingram.
Great.
A fake end around screen to Travis Etienne for another chunk.
Banger.
They ran a reverse to Jamal Agnew where Trevor reverse pivoted it out to pitch it, but Agnew was coming in motion the other way and caught it in midair and had a chunk on that. And then the touchdown was on mesh, and they had Etienne pulling the flat defender. It was just like a beautiful design. Later in the game, they have another huge end around to Agnew. I mean, they had so many of those plays today where there's getting guys moving from side to side and getting gashes off of it. And that's that play, that drive in the second quarter. And obviously they scored plenty more points in this game. You watch that, like Doug is in the zone.
Yeah.
It's just one of those games and one of those stretches. Like that guy is in the zone.
Yeah.
And you have that and a quarterback who's playing extremely well and a running game that really had a lot of juice to it today. And this is the final result as far as the points on the board go.